Card games are a fantastic form of entertainment. They work anywhere and everywhere, they're small enough to fit into a bag for travel, and there are many different kinds of card games out there. We have a selection of varieties on this list, so let's get right to it. Here are the best card games on mobile. AI Factory Limited is a developer on Google Play. They make tons of card games and board games. Some of their offerings include euchre, spades, solitaire, gin rummy, and hearts. The games aren't overly complex nor are they much to look at, however, they are rock solid. It's a good way to get some simple card games on the cheap. Before watching full video, please make sure to subscribe this channel for more mobile game updates, and now let's continue our list. Clash Royale is one of the most popular card games ever. This one plays a lot like Hearthstone and features many of the same mechanics. You'll be collecting cards based on the characters of the Clash of Clans universe and then using them to duel other players. It has one of the healthiest online communities that you can find these days. Clue is a mobile remake of the classic board game. Players shuffle about a map, collect clues, and try to guess the killer's name, weapon of choice, and place of the murder. Players collect various cards with the suspects, tools, and locations. They then play one of each to guess the murderer. It's a fairly faithful port of the original board game. CULTIST Simulator is a roguelike narrative card game. It plays a lot like a board game with a heavy emphasis on card use. One of the quirks of the game is its lack of a tutorial. Part of the fun is learning how to play, losing multiple times, and eventually conquering the game itself. We're calling our shot a bit with this one. It still isn't out officially just yet, at the time of this writing. However, we have played the game. It's one of the better card games for sure. It competes with games like Clash of Clans and Hearthstone. Exploding Kittens is one of the newer card games. This one is actually a successful Kickstarter project. The way this one works is you play with 2 to 5 players. Each player draws cards until one of them gets an exploding kitten. We think porting this game to mobile was a genius move. Gwent is the card game in the Witcher players play when they need a break from the main parts of the game. The mobile version takes most of those mechanics and adds a few more. Hearthstone is one of the most popular card games out there. With that comes a fairly large and loyal following of players that you can watch on Twitch or YouTube at your leisure. The game itself comes with hundreds of cards so that you can build some truly unique decks. Legends of RUNETERRA is one of the newer card games on the list, and it's by Riot Games, developers of League of Legends. This one plays similarly to Gwent and Hearthstone. Players collect cards as well as commanders, build decks around both, and compete with each other online. Magic: The Gathering Arena is the official mobile game. It's a fairly standard arena-style card game. You unlock and use various Magic cards to build decks and duel online against other players. This one also has multiple game modes, including popular real-life styles like drafts. ONMYOJI: The Card Game is a card game spin-off in the ONMYOJI universe. It works like most card games. You build a deck and duel it out against other players or the AI. There is also a story for the player to experience, so it's a bit more varied than PvP-only games. Pokemon TCG Online is different from most mobile Pokemon games. Those games have you collecting the actual monsters and battling them out. This one, however, is modeled after the actual card game. Players collect cards, build decks, and take on one another in glorious battle. There is an online PvP mode, a mode to play with friends, and you can even trade cards with other players. Reigns is a trilogy of popular card games. The premise is the same between all 3 games. Players are presented with a scenario on a card. The player swipes the card left or right to answer yes or no. The goal is to rule your kingdom for as long as possible. There are many Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games in the Play Store. However, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links seems to be the most popular and highest rated one. Players collect cards, build decks, and duel it out against AI and human opponents. The free-to-play mechanics are surprisingly kind to players, and even criticisms of the game seem to always come with compliments as well. If we missed any of the best kids games for Android, tell us about them in the comments.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Campaign underway.